Hi there, welcome back, or if it's your first time, welcome. It's Hélène bringing you another video. I'm going to say right up front, if you like the content in this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you are a regular visitor and you're not subscribed yet, you might want to subscribe. Just a suggestion. Anyway, let's get right into it. I am so excited about this video. I saw Drea CN do this tag and I thought, I have got to do this tag, and that is the Blush Is Bae tag. It is a total of 15 questions, and I mean, it's one blush answer every time, so it should be pretty rapid fire, and I'm really looking forward to getting into this. And I have to say, as I was looking through my collection, I'm looking at everything I've got here, I had to think a little bit and really be real with myself about how I use products and stuff. So this was a lot of fun. So how about we hop right into it? And along the way, if you believe that you have some other answers for those products, or there are products that I do not have here that are included in the 15 answers that I'm giving, but you think I should give a try, I would also really love to hear what those are. So let's hop right into it. Now, the first question is, cream or powder blush? To me, this is a bit of a trick question because I have been kind of unaware of cream products for a long time. I mean, I knew they existed, but somehow I never thought that I would be one to wear them until I got a couple of samples of the NARS Orgasm Blush. And I used those samples thoroughly. I used them to the last little drop and vowed that I would try other blushes. And as a result, I have purchased another blush. And this is a really kind of luminous blush from Sephora. Don't know if you can see that. And so I have to say that I think I'm going to do more of these cream blushes, and I think they're really great in the summer. And I'm actually going to do a little bit of a highlight, pardon the pun, especially since this is kind of highlighty, a highlight on cream products, which I really think I kind of tend to go toward when I need something to be more flattering on the face, especially during the summer. It's hard to put powder products on skin that tends to get sweaty during the day, and so I like cream products for that. So anyway, long answer on that one. I'm not off to a good start if I'm going to answer every question that long. The point is, I have tons of powders. I'm getting into creams. That's the Coles Notes of it. Weirdest color blush in your collection. Okay, well, this is a very recent addition, and an addition I did not think that I would have in the blush category. And that is a couple of blushes actually in the blush kit, the Gradient blush kit from Anastasia, which is a very recent acquisition. And if you look at the four, I would say that these two colors are the weirdest in my collection. So the most weird, definitely this one, which is called Dusk, and then followed by Blackberry on the bottom. And they're not weird for everyone. They're just weird to me because I never thought that I would have this blush in my collection. And I have used Blackberry so far only on the eye, but my God, it was beautiful when I put it on. So anyway, that is definitely my weirdest colored blush. Do I prefer high-end or drugstore blushes? Gosh, you know, I have to say it depends. I've got a couple of drugstore blushes that have blown me away, and when it comes to higher end blushes, I tend to only try them if I can get them at a reasonable cost, which some would argue is getting close to drugstore prices. So I'm going to stay on the fence on that one because I am price sensitive, and so it's not just the luxury that is going to get me to buy a blush. My most expensive blush, I am going to say that I'm going to go with a palette, and that would be the Cheekathon, because it contains 5 blushes, and so it was a relatively pricey option. And yes, there are 5 blushes, but this was a very significant purchase for me. And yes, the fact that there were 5 blushes influenced the purchase, but still, I think that would be for me what I would call the most expensive in my collection. So not bougie, but just it was a big purchase. The most inexpensive blush. So I have a tie. Last year there was the Bae Tag birthday gift at Sephora. Then the other one I'm going to mention then is also the NARS Orgasm blush sample, deluxe sample that I got along with the Laguna bronzer. And so I haven't touched it yet. But yeah, this was a free deluxe sample. Didn't pay anything for it or have to do anything for it. And so to me, that would be what I would call in that category. Favorite blush single. Oh yeah, I just don't have it open. I'm going to bring out my palette here. I'm going to say this one, which is the Park Avenue Peach Bronzer, which, I mean, it's bronzing, it's blush, it's kind of everything in here. And if I could just have one blush to reach for over and over and over again, I would say that this would be the blush for me, because I find it so versatile. Depending on where you put your brush, you can get different hues all in one, and that kind of suits my fancy. Okay, favorite blush palette. I am going to say, this is going to be surprising, I'm going to say this one actually. You would think it would be the Benefit one, but no, I'm going to say this one. And the reason I'm going to say this one is because it's a no-brainer to bring traveling, and it has 2 very different blushes, one kind of electric pink at the top and a mauvey pink or mauvey color on the bottom. And then it has the bronzer and the highlight. And what I've found myself doing when I'm traveling is using the bronzer and the highlight and mixing with the blush and creating my own concoction. And it's not a huge package to bring along when I want to have something in my purse or in my travel bag. And so because of that, it's my favorite one. And I keep looking back at it thinking it's a weird choice, but it just is the one that I always go for. So that's what I'm going to answer. The oldest blush in my collection. I am going to insert a picture because it is a set of 4 blushes actually that I had in a big kit that I just decluttered this year. And I think that is by far the oldest blush. And because I decluttered it less than a year ago, like we're talking just a few months ago, that really is the one that I should answer with. The newest blushes in my collection is the same as I answered before, gradient for the most interesting or strangest color for me. And this palette is, I was on the fence for it, and the reason being is that I purchased the Radiant blush palette, and I was really thinking, oh well, you know, this is the one for my skin tone, this is the one that makes the most sense. And I bought this one actually quite a while ago when it first went on sale. But the Gradient one was bugging me, and I started going on YouTube and saying, okay, are there fair to medium skin women using, or people, I shouldn't say women, using the Gradient? How is it working for them and whatnot? And I saw a bunch of successful videos as far as using it and having it look beautiful on the skin for lighter skin tones. And that's what made me take the plunge. And we're talking about, I just received it last week or so. So this is very, very, very new. And I really like it so far. Okay, so for my party blush, I have to say that Rockateur is the one that I go for because it has a little bit of luminosity. It has a very, very pretty, very flattering color, and I always feel very comfortable and confident when I wear that blush. So definitely, definitely Rockateur. And a very, very close second, again, because of the comfort level, is the Dallas blush down here. When I did a bit of a focus on Benefit products, I found myself going very often to Rockateur, actually Dallas first and then Rockateur. So those would be kind of neck and neck with Rockateur winning by a head. Okay, when it comes to brands that I have 4 or more blushes from, I'm definitely going to include this palette, even though it is a palette and not individual blushes, because if I didn't have this palette, I would probably have at least miniature sizes of at least 3 of these blushes. I keep looking at the individual sizes, and the only reason really that I went for the palette is because I don't like the packaging of the Benefits packaging in that square box. I feel like I wouldn't be able to get to the blush in the corners despite the square brush or rectangular brush, and that just really annoys me. So I think that when it comes to Benefit blushes or bronzers, I'm more likely to buy a palette. So I'm going to include those. And I'm also going to include, I'm cheating, the Anastasia palettes, because the reason I bought the palettes was because I wanted multiples of the Anastasia blushes, and I'm obviously a big fan. I also have the Anastasia Trio in Pool Party. 6 of the Sephora blushes. Now these did also come in a palette, and it was hellish, but I depotted them because I just wanted to have them available individually to be able to move around in my magnetic palettes, especially for travel. I'm not too worried about them. And so I have 6 of those. And one last company, and that is Tarte. So I showed this earlier, and you'll see that I have 4 Tarte blushes. There's the Park Avenue Princess Peach Bronzer, which I consider a blush. It's kind of a hybrid between a blush and a bronzer. So that one. I have Concept, Insight, and Partey from Tarte. And so that's 4 of those. So there you have it. Anastasia, Benefit, Sephora, and Tarte are the brands where I have 4 or more. Blush buying regrets. It would be this one right here, followed closely by the Butter Blushes from Physicians Formula as well. This blush is super chalky. I don't know if you can even see just the texture on the blush. I'll just do a swatch here, but it's just, it picks up so much on the hand. Really powdery. I mean, it's not a bad color. It's a pretty color. It's down here. It's a pretty color, but really, really powdery. Do I use it once in a while? Yeah, but sometimes I just go to pick it up and swatch it and realize that that's just not the color I want. And it's kind of a little bit of a bubblegum pink, and I have other blushes that are of the similar color, and they're just better. So yeah, I kind of wish I had my $6 to $8 back on that one. Now, a blush I bought because of another YouTuber. Jaclyn Hill made me buy this. And that is the Milani Luminoso blush, because it was supposed to be a dupe for the NARS Orgasm, and I have a problem with the NARS Orgasm blush, and that is that I am not going to buy with my own money. If I get it free, I'll use it, but I will not buy with my own money a blush by that name. I just don't care for it. Actually, some of NARS's names for blushes are disgusting from my perspective, and I would say that the Orgasm one is on the lighter side, but there are other names. I think you know which ones I'm talking about. If not, just look them up. They're pretty disgusting, and that is something that I find really annoying from a few makeup brands, NARS being kind of up there on the list. But this blush, yes, it does very much look like, I'm going to go right over here, does very much look like the NARS Orgasm blush, no question. So there it is. Not the best place to swatch, but oh well. And I like it. I don't use it very much. It's very pretty packaging. The reason I don't use it very much is because I had those couple of samples of the cream NARS Orgasm blush that I used quite a bit. It's amazing how long the samples lasted. And then this one, I have kind of put aside because I have the other that I haven't used yet, but the other NARS Orgasm sample. So this one is more something that I would take traveling with me. But I have a similar blush from Makeup Forever that was a deluxe sample that has kind of that luminosity peachy look that I've been taking traveling instead because it's a lot smaller. And it's this one down here. Kind of similar. It has that kind of that shininess to it, peachy, goldy blush. But once I'm done with that Makeup Forever deluxe sample, I'm probably going to go back to this one. Now, a blush brand that I have not purchased yet, but that is on my list, is definitely the Hourglass blushes. I think they are gorgeous, and I would really, really like to try one of those blushes. So it is on my radar, and I'm probably going to pick one up at some point. I have picked up the ambient lighting palette from Hourglass. I also have an illuminating bronzer of theirs in a mini. And I really like their products. I think they do a fantastic job with powders, and I am sure that at some point I will have either a blush palette or a single blush from Hourglass. Now, there was a question about favorite blush brushes. Try saying that 3 times fast. So I'm only going to talk about one because I haven't found, okay, one that I think is in the runnings. I've just brought one out, but I'll bring out another. Okay, so this is the one that I've been using recently, and I really like how fluffy it is in the center, but I use it, it can be used for powder, contour, and blushing, and I use it definitely for blushing, and I have a another brush very similar like this, but with a kind of a contour edge that I use to complement this one to make sure I can use all my contour powder products, and it's right behind me. Right here. So very, very happy so far. It's very fluffy, it's very soft, it does a fantastic job, and I highly recommend it. It's right now in the sale section on Sephora. And one that I've been toying with and I'm not sold on yet, but I really enjoy it. Now, it's called a highlighting fan brush, but it's so thick, to me anyway, it's so thick that I don't mind if I want to use a very potent blush lightly. I've been experimenting with this and I don't mind it at all. Like, is it a traditional blush brush? No, but there are no rules, and I'm kind of liking this one. And the reason I bought this little guy is because I had a blush brush from Quo, and if you watch my upcoming MT's video at the end of the month, you'll see it. I don't want to bring it out right now. It is a mess. I guess I just washed it recently, and I guess this was the last wash for this brush because it just died on me. Once it was dry, a couple days later, and I wash this brush regularly, but a couple of days later, I go to use it again once it was dry, and the hair started coming off all over the place. I had hair all over the face. You could have called me a Sasquatch. It was ridiculous. And I tried to remove some hair and play around with it, see if I could make it work. But after 3 days of that mess, I just chucked it. Chucked it in my empties bag and said, that's enough, and went right to the Sephora site. I had seen this one on sale and just picked it up. So that's the story with that. Not very many brushes to talk about, but that's what works for me. So there you go. I answered all 15 questions. I hope you got something worthwhile out of the answers, or at least some entertainment. And I would love to hear if you have different answers for those 15 questions, and or if you would like to, I would love for you to do a video and post it on YouTube to show what your answers to those 15 questions would be. If you like the content in this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll hear about every other video that I put up on YouTube. And I post very regularly, so you can see some new stuff from me every few days or so. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your time. And until the next video, be well.